26. Yes. Yes.
Cheryl, next.
Yes. Do you have any member of the public who would like to move comment at this time? Any member of the public would like to speak? Hearing none, we can cancel the public. Public comment period, we move on to consent calendar, and then we know the majority of the committee has to be within the consent calendar. We have a motion for consent calendar. So, second, any comments, roll call? Yes. Yes.
Cheryl, yes.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Moving on to the agenda, item 6, continuing the business. Received an update of the station 41 Stowe Don or Lucas. Yes, well, John.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah. The client's in the shower, can you make it louder?
I can try. Let me see here. How about now? Is that any clearer?
Yes, yeah, yes.
Okay, well, I'll speak up, and if I'm too loud or too quiet, just please let me know. So thank you, Chief Cox and members of the board. Good to see you again. Megan, is it okay to start?
Yeah.
Are we good? Okay, all right. So I'm gonna, I'll share my screen here. Okay, so this is an update on the Station 41 South Lot Improvements Project. On November 20th, 2024, the board approved the plans and specs and authorized advertising the project for construction bids. The project will construct a drought-tolerant, fire-safe interpretive garden on the vacant, unimproved south lot of Station 41 on Coronado between Obispo and Alhambra, and also sidewalk improvements along the Alhambra and Coronado frontage of the Station 41 property. The project was advertised for bids on January 15th, and bids were open on February 11th. The district received three bids, and I'll fast forward to the bid results. This slide shows the base bid, which is just the interpretive garden. The alternative 1 sidewalk work is the second bid column. Alternative 2 is the rest of the sidewalk work. And then alternative 1 and alternative 2 combined are all the sidewalk work from Avenue Cabrillo all the way to Obispo, and that includes the crosswalk of Obispo. And you can see the engineer's estimate. And then the 3 bids we got from Scapes, Professional Tree Care, and M3. And you can see the bid amounts. Overall, the low bid from Scapes, which we have confirmed was responsive and responsible, and it's approvable. $463,509 for the entire project, including both alternates, is 9% below the engineer's estimate. I have informed county ADA staff of the bid results, and they've indicated the county intends to proceed with the funding agreement for 50% of the design and construction cost of all sidewalk work. And to remind the board, the grant that we got from the Safe Route to School program at the county and also the ADA grant, if we were to accept those, we would need to construct both alternatives 1 and alternatives 2 together. And that's that total cost that you see. The county has indicated their intent, as I mentioned, to proceed with the funding agreement. We were actually intending to bring the construction contract to you tonight for approval, but the county's asked for one more month, so we plan to review the cost sharing agreement. They've already reviewed it. We've been back and forth a couple times on it, but they wanted one more review to be able to present that to you, because we want to be able to affirmatively say that that agreement is approved and bring that before you to authorize in addition to the construction contract at the same time. So you'll have that information at hand. So we expect to come back in March with both the construction agreement and the county funding agreement. And then the next slide, I have the project budget table. So here are all the costs for the project, including design, construction, construction management, construction inspection, and then a standard construction contingency of 10%. So roughly $650,000 total project cost. If you subtract the grants that we expect to receive from the Safe Route to School and the ADA grant, the total to the district would be $495,000. And then if we go to the next slide, I've broken down some of the costs that we would expect to see for the different alternatives. So we're not asking you tonight to make a final decision on the sidewalk work, but I did want to share for you to consider prior to next month's meeting, more information. So what you're looking at here is the sidewalk work only. So this is the budget for both alternatives 1 and alternatives 2. We've spent $18,000 on the design, and then you can see the other costs there for construction, CMCI, and contingency, all attributable for just the sidewalk portion of the project. If you then subtract out, and that totals $275,000 approximately. If you then subtract out the 2 grants that I mentioned, you're left with a fire district cost for the sidewalk work of $120,000. So you can see we'd be paying a little less than half. We proposed a 50% cost share, but because we got the second grant, we're actually doing a little bit better than that. And we would be looking at fronting or paying for approximately 40+% of that. The 2 numbers below that are basically scenarios. So the first one is if we had no grants at all, and the county, when we first approached them, they asked for us to complete the alternative 1 sidewalk work, which is just around the interpretive garden. If we were to do just that work at district expense with no grants, which was the original proposal we got back, or requirement we got back from the county, we'd be looking at spending $480,000. If that alternative 1 sidewalk work was not required, had it gone in that direction, we could subtract out the cost of the alt 1 sidewalk, which is roughly $100,000 for that work. And then the last item there I've already mentioned, that's the cost all in for both the cost to the district all in for doing the entire project. The next slide, just a schedule update of where we're at on the project. So we, as you know, we're well done with design, bidding, and permitting. We have been, again, working on getting the funding, which is almost complete. Bidding the project, the number 2 there you see in the month of March, that's the item we'll bring back to you in March that I mentioned. And down here, it describes what will be in front of you in March. Will be to award the construction contract to Scapes. We're also recommending a small CMCI contract so that there's someone out there monitoring construction with the contractor. That'll be a small contract for that. And that cost is included in the estimate that I provided to you. And then authorizing the county funding agreement, and then authorizing a small amendment for the designer, RHAA, to support the project during construction, reviewing submittals and RFIs. Again, that's a very small amendment that I'm going to be proposing as well. So all that will be before you in March, assuming the project moves forward with Scapes. After the March meeting, we'll have 2 months of pre-construction submittals followed by construction, and the project will be fully complete by the end of this summer. And so that concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions? I know, first of all, it's exciting to hear. Thank you for getting that sidewalk. My concerns out, and other board members concerned about how much the fire district paying for counties. So thank you for that. There was no problem on so that I would put down more on it. Just say, it looks like the log line is on sidewalk or start, say anyways. And that's it. Our market is all in it's on that. So I'm gonna see for the site fire it's on site every video this now the nation saying I'll make sure I understand the possibly wants to do the whole sidewalk with 125,000 additional, is that correct?
To do the sidewalk across the street from the station.
Could you restate the question or maybe put it in the chat? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
If I may, it looked like option one, which the county has asked to put in at the very least, no matter what the sidewalk that was regarded, east and west. Next, we have to, I guess they're saying we need to do that. $180 house. If we get a funding, all in for the option one and two.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Michelle Draghi, but there's 3 people that have put on chat. We can't understand a thing you're saying. You're completely garbled. So I just wanted to let you know. Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know why.
Didn't have questions. It's just very hard to hear, but you could put it in the chat or maybe I could pick up my phone. Maybe if that would help, I can do that.
Michelle, can you hear us now?
Yeah,
That's
that
better.
sounded better.
Yes.
Yeah, whoever just spoke, I could hear that pretty clearly.
Yeah. Okay, so my point I was making where it looks like the option that we want without any grant funding or funding. Because we have to put in the small piece of sidewalk that would be east west on one auto next to the building as a good challenge with 480,000. All in all, options all together with additional funding grants and housing funding would cost us $495. I was saying, wow, 15,000 more down, 15,000 more, 495 versus 480. It's all in. That's right.
I believe that's that. I think we should be putting in this. Should be trying to. Their own grants for that other.
One point I'm here on the about is that when we got information to you, don't permits to the station. The county had us put in between what I call sidewalk entrances on the top on the side would be paid for. It's on county lane. So we've already done really extensive pieces of sidewalk where it's already on county land. They can put the build the station or the same, the minor expenses for having a nice sidewalk around it, the safety, a lot of people and all citizens that are going up and down the street. I think it's a lot more.
So we went to just the alternate one, which is
That's the one next to us, they should. It's as close as the last page.
right. Yeah. Because alternate two is across the street.
No, across the street.
I'm with you 100%.
Just to clarify, all the options combined would be a sidewalk that would be requirement. Which you're going to The super run very the station run, but it's on the side with the so you have one all the way around to the bus stop. This is all in the line. Yes, I mean, option one just to the top. Yeah, Sean, can you get a question? Hello, Sean.
Really can't hear much of what you're saying.
John, explain to us what the difference is between option one and option two.
I did hear that. So option one is sidewalk. First of all, both of the options are just sidewalk options. I think you understand that. Option one is sidewalk from the bus stop on Alhambra, which essentially is the extent of the area that we're landscaping, the south lot, around to connect to the curb ramp at the corner of Obispo and Coronado. The curb ramp that was already built as part of the Station 41 project. So that's the sidewalk that is alternative one, and Scapes' bid for that work, as you can see, was $89,000. That's the work that initially the county was requiring to be done as part of the project as a permit requirement. And alternative two is everything else. So Avenue Cabrillo all the way to the bus stop, and then also from Obispo across the street to a new curb ramp on the other side of Obispo on the Highway 1 side. So it would complete the path of travel all the way from, it would fill the gap essentially that exists and connect the coast side all the way from Cabrillo to Obispo, and then of course on to Highway 1.
John, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you now. Yes. Yes.
So that includes a crosswalk?
Yeah, alternative two includes the crosswalk across Obispo, and that's really important because that was part of the Safe Route to School study for the area from the local elementary school. So that's a condition of that. That's part of that grant.
Right.
Yeah.
Sean, this is Director Hannigan. Maybe you can clarify for me, if this is the point that I was trying to make to everyone here, was it looks like to me that option one, which you said that sidewalk and that option was a requirement, right? From the county for the permits?
Initially, yes. Before we pivoted to talking about grants and cost sharing, that was initially a requirement we got back from them.
And all in coast side's cost for that was 480 and change, correct?
Oh, yes.
And then for the all-in option where we do everything with the grant money, it's 15K more cost to the coast side. Is that correct?
Under the assumption here with this 480,000 that you just mentioned, that's under the assumption that we would have to do the alternative one sidewalk with no grants, as was originally required by the county. Now, if we did not have to do alternative one sidewalk, we would obviously get no grants because those are contingent upon sidewalk. If we got no grants but did not do the alt one sidewalk, you could subtract 90,000 from that 480. But again, we would have to go back and see if that were waived. That was an original requirement that that kind of ended up going away once we started looking at cost sharing it.
Well, first of all, this is not an action item today to do it. And maybe we'll have additional information by next month, Sean, or any other data that would help us.
Yeah, yes, I'm glad you asked that question. So we'll be back with this. The data here on the bid is set. The only additional information really I anticipate having is a member of the county ADA group that is the larger of the two grants. That's the, let me go back to that slide. That's the 126,476. They're planning to attend that meeting in case there are any questions or if you'd like to speak to them directly. And then one of the action items in March will be to authorize executing the funding agreement for that funding. And so essentially we would contract with Scapes and then the county would reimburse us up to 126,000 up to the grant amount that's shown. And that'll all be coming back to you in March.
Well, I would like to, a couple of things I'd like to have a very succinct, simple explanation of the alternatives before the board for a decision in March is my number one request to do it, number one. Secondly, I guess and this is more of just an opinion thing, I rebel at the idea of us building sidewalks for the county. And yet, on the other hand, I am challenged by the thought is we certainly don't want to go through all this money and building the $14 million plan and spreading, compromise over a 15,000 or a small amount of money. So my prejudice of not funding the county is offset, if you will, frankly, by what I would, I guess, call my common sense, and for lack of a better word. But we're not going to solve anything today. Is there any other questions of Sean? We'll ask him to come back, simplify a little bit, tell us where we are, and put it on the agenda.
I've got a question.
Good.
When we finish everything and make all of our decisions and plug in all of the things that we have to do on a rational basis, and then we come up with a plan we're going to go with, what are the taxpayers in the district going to be on the hook for? How much money? Is it the $495 or is it the $120,000?
Total cost to the district of the project is the $495.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Talk to you next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we know if this is
You can drag
for the public?
Okay. Moving on to the agenda, please. Item B, received an update and review, discuss new station 44, temporary station 44 project. I guess Sean is going to do this as well, please.
Yeah, sorry, you can't get rid of me quite yet. I do have the presentation for the station 44, which I provided a staff report for that. Let me share my screen again. Okay, can you see the schedule chart on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So as outlined in the staff report, so this is an update for the Station 44 project, which includes, I think as everyone is aware, the permanent station on 501 Stetson, replacing that existing station with a new 10,000, over 10,000 square foot two-story station. And the project also includes the temporary station at the corner of California and Etheldorf to house the fire station while the new station is being constructed on Stetson. So this item includes an update of both of those efforts as part of one combined project. So we've talked before about how the county the planning entitlements for both the permanent station and the temporary station were obtained in July of last year. The permanent station is currently at 90% design. What I've got on the screen here is a schedule for the entire project from now all the way to completion. And I'll go over those items here, kind of use the schedule as an outline for update you on some of these items. Before I get into the schedule, I think just to state that the permanent station includes the two-story building with living quarters, apparatus bay, technical support areas, and other necessary facilities. On the site outside of the building, it also includes the visitor and employee parking, front apron, landscaping, and an entry patio. There's also retaining walls that are fairly significant that will go all the way around the site, given the lower grade relative to the adjacent properties. That's part of the project. That's part of the permanent station design as well. The current schedule for the permanent station is currently we're looking at submitting for the county building permit. That's the second line. So the schedule here is broken out by permanent station first and then temporary station second. For the permanent station, you can see that we're currently in design and we expect that to continue through June. We're currently at the 90% level, so we're pretty far along in design. I should have mentioned at the outset, we have Austin Dunkley, our architect from PBK, on the call as well. He's available for a Q&A. And Austin's leading the design team for the project. So our permitting, so we're looking at submitting for the county building permit. As I mentioned, we already have the entitlement permit or the planning entitlement, but we're going to apply for the remaining permits, which are the building and encroachment permit, in April, or if not sooner. And then we're allowing 4 months for that permit process to occur. While that's happening, we're going to start the bidder pre-qualification and bid and award process. So we expect to bring back to you sometime towards the end of the summer a construction contract for you to consider and approve that would allow us to move forward into construction. Once that award contract is awarded, we would look at a approximately 2-month pre-construction phase, getting ready for construction with submittals, RFIs, and then we would look at actually breaking ground in December or early 2026. Now, for that to happen, the temporary station has to be ready for move-in prior to that, so we can continue obviously have a continuous service. So that project, that one's a little bit of ahead, as it should be. We've already submitted for county building permit on that project. We expect that to conclude here in March or April. We're going to be bidding out the site construction improvements. That's a much smaller project. It's really just grading of the lot at California and Etheldor, doing some fencing and gates work, installing the apparatus bay, which is a temporary tent, kind of a tent style apparatus bay. And then bringing in and then after that site prep work is done, also I should mention, reconnecting the water and sewer utilities, which we've already applied for from Montero Water. And then once that work is done, bringing the modular building in, that has already been ordered after you approve the contract with Mobile Modular in December. We've already ordered the building, they're fabricating it, and that'll be brought in towards the end of this year. And then between setup of the building, setting up the furnishings and the communications inside the building, and then the move-in period, we're showing that we can achieve move-in in November to be able to start construction on the permanent station. So that's the schedule, and I'll go into the cost estimate next, and then I'll open up to any questions you have. So you asked at the last update that we brought before you a cost estimate for the total project. And so that's what you're looking at here. Again, this is broken down by permanent station first and temporary station second. On the permanent station, the design and PM cost, that includes PBK's contract, existing contract, but also services that we don't yet have under scope that will be needed to get us to the finish line. So it's got an allowance for that. And then we've got those soft costs there in that line. And then we've got the construction costs for the fire station. So the 12.7, and that's based on our 90% design. The 12.7 million is approximately 10 million in the building, a little bit more than 10, and then roughly 2.5 in the site and everything else, the retaining walls, all the site improvements that I mentioned. And so then adding a 10% contingency, and by the way, that number does have a little bit of design contingency in there. So there's a little bit of variability to make sure the estimate is conservative at the 90% level. Then we've got a standard 10% construction contingency for the construction contractor, a small allocation for permits, and that gets us to 15 million. I mentioned in the staff report, in terms of just adding context to that, I think when we started this project, there was a thought of maybe $1,000 a square foot for the building. If we look at the costs here, we're looking at just the construction cost is what I'm referring to. We're looking at $988 a square foot. So it's and Austin's here and can talk about other projects he's worked on and costs that they're seeing on other fire stations. If you have any questions on that. In terms of the temporary station, clearly a lot less. We've got the same cost, all same cost categories. We're adding the site prep construction again, the grading, fencing, utilities that I mentioned. And we'll be bidding that out here in the near future to get that work going, as I mentioned. And then I'm adding the cost of the modular building that you approved to the estimate. And then all in, we get roughly 700,000 on the temporary station. So the project for both the temporary and the permanent adds up to the number that you see there. That concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions. Me or Austin are happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks.
So just to clarify, the temporary building is 697,000, and we have that in our packet, right? To do that. And we've already approved the modular building. We've already done that. So now we're waiting to take action on the permanent facility itself. Questions, comments?
Well, the only question I have is probably not directed towards Sean, but maybe Chief Cox. What was the cost all in for the land use rental lease?
Yeah,
That's not in here, right? So I just want to have an all in number.
yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to look at what the exact lease details are. It's a 3-year lease. For the
What's your name? 5,000?
it's 5,000 a month.
Yeah. That, well, maybe with that number included, that we're looking at probably based on this number, which I'm sure will change, about 16.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was the question, Patrick?
Well, I say what, for us,
Yeah.
the board, all in, based on this estimate of construction, with the lease, we're looking at about 16 million all in, to do this project.
Yes.
As is now. Sean, someone was on the line right from architectural, and you said that he may be able to, have some reference points from other projects he's currently doing. Do they foresee costs potentially going up in the climate going forward with tariffs or anything else?
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Austin Dunkley with PBK. So certainly tariffs could affect the cost of this, and there has been some, I'd say, conservative approach to the numbers that were put in the estimate, just to factor in, small increase on some of the steel, potential aluminum costs. But beyond that, the other number, I guess, that could continue to go up is our retaining wall cost. We have a number plugged in there, but that's the last piece before we submit. And so that retaining wall is still, we're fleshing out the design. And it is going to be a complex wall with just the nature of having those houses so close to our retaining element.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. John, thank you. Look forward for continued progress. Get this done.
Keep forging ahead fast as we can. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, new business, item A. Discuss and approve resolution 2025-01, request to waive permit fees for the Half Moon Bay Amateur Radio Club Field Day.
Yeah, maybe one before that.
Yeah,
Did I miss one?
Yeah.
mid-year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item C, review and discuss mid-year operating plan. Chief Cox, thank you.
Thanks. This is really just for the board. The 7-year operating plan outlines the deliverables to the district for the service from CAL FIRE. This just is a status update for all the admin operations, prevention and training, either ongoing, in progress, completed, or not applicable. Happy to answer any questions related to this.
Any questions from anybody? Chief, very positive. Things are going well. Thank you for the report and update. It's very helpful. Thank you. Any questions? Very good. Moving on to new business, review and discuss resolution 225-01, request to waive fees for the Half Moon Bay Radio Club Field Day.
Thanks. This was before you last year as well. It's the Amateur Radio Club. They do a field day every year across the street here from Station 40. Because it does have a nexus to emergency response and obviously the radio infrastructure for the CERT teams. They've requested and we're recommending granting them an exemption from the special event fees, which would be $152 per application year. They're asking for 3 years, 25, 26.
Thank you, Chief. Comments, questions? I would certainly support it doing it. I would, one provision. I would ask that the amateur radio club describe this as a coastside amateur radio club, not a Half Moon Bay. Since the coastside fire district is funding it, I think it'd be appropriate to make it out to the coastside amateur radio club. With that, I would move approval.
There may be some slight concerns they would have about that because the amateur radio clubs are named by geographic territories all over the region.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be, but they just happen to be the Half Moon Bay, it's an old.
Okay, I did not realize that, so they don't have the ability to just change names.
No, sir, they didn't, but they would have to go back and change their charter.
Thank you for the correction. I withdraw my comment and I would move approval for the Half Moon Bay Amateur Radio Club Field Day resolution.
Thank you, sir.
Did I say so moved?
Yeah, move, second,
Second.
move and second. Any further comment? Roll call, please, Jean.
Board Member Cockrell,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yeah.
McKinney,
Yes.
Cheryl. Yes. President Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Number, new business, item B, consider for approval resolution declaring seasonal weeds a public nuisance, Chief Cox, are you gonna do this one?
Thank you. Yeah, I can do it. This is for your consideration. Each year, the district declares a public nuisance on lots in the health and safety code that are undeveloped and may pose a risk for weeds that dry out in the summer months. The list is attached to the resolutions that are indicating the parcels that are to be declared a public nuisance as identified in the county assessor's parcel number. The nuisance requires the property owners to clean up, cut, and remove the seasonal weeds. They'll be sent an abatement notice and a public nuisance and a timeline when they'll be estimating to eliminate the fire hazard. Property owners are allowed a chance to address the board on April 23rd, 2025, if they feel their property does not constitute a public nuisance. If the weeds are not removed by May 10th, the district will proceed to abate the hazard using predetermined weed abatement contractor. Just want to note that the environmental review, the district believed it's statutorily exempt from the CEQA pursuant to Public Resource Code 2108B4 and categorically exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15301, 15304, and 15332.
Thank you, Chief. Comments, questions?
This is a, quite the list. Is it larger? Is it, or about the same size as previous?
The same sizes. In fact, maybe less than, because I know we used to do with them city, so it'd be smaller.
So this represents an enormous amount of work on the part of the fire marshal's office to go out and inspect all of these and send them notices and follow up with everything. And this happens every year. Impressive, thank you.
When would you expect that as time goes on, these parcels are developed and built upon, they would drop off this list?
So it's time state, so we go out and identify it. We go out and see what the homeowners have done, and then we go out and see what the contractors done.
I just had, and you might remember, this subject, I guess, came up a year ago. The chief at that time, we was asked, how effective is this? And I was rather surprised at two things. One, if I recall correctly, was it was maybe 1% effective doing something, maybe was a quote that I recall saying that. Secondly, the thing I was surprised at, I thought this was being done throughout the state, way unique.
Yes.
Nobody else is doing it. And at that time, I made a comment that when it comes up for renewal again, I would move to what I would, my intent to eliminate it. You know, the cost benefit of this, it just doesn't seem to be worth it to do it. We're not getting it. We can't do the land that's on state land. We can't do various other nonprofit groups. So it's kind of a hit and miss kind of things. And as the board knows, we've had people come before us to complain or say, why are we doing to them and that type of thing. So for the value of it, at that time did not seem worth it. However, to be realistic, after the terrible situation that's gone on in Los Angeles and elsewhere in the state of California, I think at this time to say that we are not going to do it probably is not politically or practically correct to do it. And I would approve it. I would say that if I'm around here again a year from now, I would all go again to say, let's take a look at it from a cost benefit. But from this point of view, for the practical reasons that I think we're all aware of, I think it would be, we should approve it. And I make a motion to approve.
Sid's got her hand up.
Oh, sorry.
There's a hand raised.
Sid, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a statement, but I agree with Gary completely, especially after LA. And I got on the Zoom meeting 2 minutes late because I got a fraud call about a credit card somebody took out of my name, and I didn't get a chance for public comment, but I understand that you can't do anything on public lands, but I am not sure if you guys are aware that the people in Montara and Moss Beach are concerned about the lack of, you know, Caltrans taking care of the right-of-way that runs through there. And I don't know if you know what the right-of-way is, but it's the bypass lands that were going to be a freeway until they built the tunnel. And it's a lot of overgrowth eucalyptus. So I'm wondering if you could put that on an agenda item. I know you can't do weed abatement levies against state lands, but if there's anything that you could do to work with the public, I know it would be helpful, because there's a lot of concerned homeowners and a lot of people are losing their fire insurance, et cetera. And they've had meetings with MWSD about it, because our first meeting of the year, where they, you know, right after the LA fires, they were all worried about the fire hydrants inspections and all of that. And then you guys didn't have a meeting right after you were still in LA during the fire for January. So anyway, if you could put it on an agenda for next month, that would be great. If you can't, I understand, but just so the public can weigh in, and if there's anything you guys can do.
Thank you, Sid. What I'd suggest is that I had actually asked for a review of wildfire on the coast and all aspects of it for this month, but for a lot of reasons, it was said that probably next month would be a better opportunity to do that. And I would like to have on the agenda next month a total review, maybe a set of time limit on it, but have various opinions and hopefully have CAL FIRE and the chief, you know, contribute some conversations as to what is it we're not doing, what should we do, what everything else. But I think it's time that we have a thorough review. I think there's too much of an attitude that I sense from some people that it couldn't happen here. And that is so dangerous to do it.
I think it never hurts to raise awareness, and I understand that Jackie Spear and Ray Mueller both have an ad hoc committee countywide about fire. And my concern, and I know Chief Cox knows this, that they said a long time ago they were going to do a emergency evacuation plan, but now I hear they're doing it with AI, and you know, the coast side, I don't see how they can do it with AI, but maybe they can. I don't know. Just I don't know if it's forthcoming. Yeah.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to approve resolution 2025-02 for the resolution to declare weeds a public nuisance for 1 year. It's going to be, I made the motion and somebody can second it. Any further comment? Roll call, please, Gene.
Board Member Cockrell,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Moving on to item C, review, discuss, consider approval for a resolution authorizing the receipt of 2024 mandatory fire inspections. Says Chief Griffin, but who is going to,
I can take it.
please.
Yeah, this comes before you every year, in accordance with California Health and Safety Code. This, became effective after September 2018 in light of the Ghost Ship fire in Oakland, California. And it requires, staff to annually present the mandatory inspection result for the year for certain occupancy types. For the district in 2024, 17 E occupancy types were inspected at 100%. 1 I occupancy type for 100% and 77 R occupancies for 100% completion.
Very good. Comments, questions? I make a quick comment. First of all, that if you note on our handout here that the Coastside Fire District has 95 state mandated occupancy, and 95 have been completed inspections that have all been done. And we have a clean record, and I would certainly thank the fire marshal and the department and the office of Cal Fire for such a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2503?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Board Member Cockrell,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Item D, consider approval resolution authorize the purchase of new equipment of fire apparatus. Chief Cox.
Thank you. The new engine, the new Pierce Quantum engine is in Sacramento. It is being modified to meet our needs. That engine, the plan is to replace engine 40 because engine 40 is the busiest engine with mileage. Put engine 40 up at station 44, which is a year or two old, and put the new engine here at station 40. To do that, we're requesting utilizing leverage procurement through the NPP Gov contract for firefighting equipment in the amount of $73,000. This will ensure standardized equipment across all 3 apparatus in the district, including cliff rescue, hose, nozzles, and full complement.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments? Gee, I got just a question. We're replacing engine 40, you said.
Yeah,
So how many engines do we have now? We have 3 new ones.
yeah. So right now we have the 2 new ones, 40 and 41,
Yeah.
and 44 is old.
Yeah.
The new one is gonna come to 40, and then they're gonna, the
Oh.
second newest one's going to 44. So
Okay.
essentially, they're just for mileage, to balance mileage,
Okay.
balancing it out a little. When all is said and done, we will have 3 frontline and 3 reserve engines, all identical.
Okay. Thank you.
That's great.
Questions, comments?
Again, it's an impressive list of equipment. Chief Anderson and Captain Moonstein must have been very busy with all this.
They're good at the details.
There it is.
We have a motion to approve resolution 22504.
So moved.
That's it. I got a second. Any further comments? Roll call, please, Gene.
Board Member Cockrell,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Moving on, item E, review and discuss, provide guidance on annual community report, which is in our packet. Comments, questions, direction? All the editors come forward. I'll make one under the board of directors message on the back page, as a suggestion. The halfway down the second paragraph, the district will continue its annual weed abatement program, which we just did, to reduce hazardous waste and vegetation, period. And then that awaits delivery of a new wildlife fire engine known as Type 3. I just take that out. I mean, the public doesn't know what a Type 3.
So just leave it, await delivery of a new wildland fire engine.
And yeah, and
And
just,
then strike the notice of Type 3.
no, strike awaits the delivery of a new wildlife fire engine known as Type 3. Just take that out of it. I just think Somebody's gonna ask us what it take 3 years and I have no clue, you say.
Well, if we tell them we're just waiting on a new wildland engine, wildland fire engine is specifically for fighting the fires out in the Tulies. I don't have a problem with that. No one is type 3 and now we're getting that out in the weeds, so to speak.
Is a public know what a wildfire engine?
Wildland engine.
The
I don't know.
branch 3 and 4, they do.
All right, well then, if that's fine, I don't
think it's
care.
kind of self-explanatory.
We could put four-wheel drive in there, that might help.
Yeah, maybe just change the wording. I think it's value added to let the public know that we'll have a specific.
Take out as a
Low
type 3,
compact.
okay?
Yeah, if you got type 3, a new four-wheel drive.
That's why there's only one editor in most newspapers.
Anyway, four-wheel drive wildland. It is four-wheel drive.
It is.
Okay, anything else to suggest?
No, that's good.
Might be
See where it is?
Okay,
Okay.
can we tell them it's red? Okay, it's getting late. Anything else? All right, moving on. Going on to, we're going into board of directors reports. In our packet is the various finance documents, and then we actually have in our packet the finance reports from December, January, and February. No, January is the last one. We had November, December, and January. And in looking at the January report, as far as I could tell, we're in fine shape. We have inlaid from some over $16 million in reserves for primarily Station 44. Ours is over $4 million. And our newest investment for diversification, CalPlast, has a 1.5 million in it. Our revenue year to date is over 60%. And so we're in fine shape as far as I can tell. I'll mention one thing because I'm going to mention this and a few more. If you look at this thing, we've never paid attention to, but our yearly revenue from the ALS JPA is some $90,000. Just I'll point that out. I'll come back to it just in a minute. Any questions on the funding?
It's just a minor point, and I'll get to it in a certain point a little later, but we are meeting with neighborhoods and for CERT, especially since the tsunami warning, and we're talking about what the neighborhood concerns are. And of course, it's tsunami and wildfire and earthquake. But they are asking us about fire hydrant maintenance. And on our table here, we've spent 0% so far on fire hydrant maintenance. It's in the budget. So could I understand, please, what is the role of the Coastside Fire Protection District in terms of maintaining the fire hydrants across the coastside?
Yeah, so within the two water districts, the Coastside Water and County Water District maintains the hydrants.
Okay,
In Montero Water, we're still working on a agreement as far as the roles and responsibilities between the water purveyor and the district.
okay,
There's been a couple different arrangements in the past about who does the actual hydrant maintenance.
okay.
That is being worked on.
So the answer is that the Coastside Fire Protection District is actually not responsible for the maintenance of those hydrants?
And please correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, but the infrastructure of the water district is their responsibility. Unless there's an agreement in place where the fire district or fire agency will do the work on those hydrants.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we know who does this in the area of the Montero Water Sanitary District?
Yeah, so we've done it, and John, fill in the blanks too. We've done it in a couple different ways in the past. Some years firefighters have done it, other years the district has done it. We've had meetings with them to try to work out a specific agreement as far as what the fire district will do, as far as hydrant maintenance is concerned. There are a lot of factors at play, specifically flushing hydrants or flowing water that may be unbeknownst to them causing an issue where they have to move water around and not knowing that there's a big water demand coming. So that's all that we have in there to work on.
If I can add to that, so currently with your in past negotiation with the Montero, we are currently, the engine companies are currently doing the maintenance on the hydrants in Montero Moss Beach, which requires them to check all the ports, open them all up, close them all up. And then in the fire marshal's office, every new construction, every remodel that requires fire flows, we do fire flows in those areas. So we have a general area on a grid, what the water capabilities are in Montero Moss Beach currently.
And what about with some of the southern canyons, like, Pinata Cove and Ocean Colony and?
We do, so the Pinata Cove is a private system. All we do is the two hydrants that maintain, the main portion of that facility.
Okay,
They do their own. CCWD, which is the water company purveyor here, they do all the maintenance in Princeton, El Granado, Miramar, Half Moon Bay, and a little bit south down to where the golf course is. We still do all the fire flows, so since the ISO rating, we make it a point to do grids and we do fire flows in the area. We've been doing that for the last year to upgrade. We've done them in the past, but we're upgrading everything to be within the 5-year time frame that NFPA wants those fire flows. So that's something we work on every month.
that is very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good.
So I've got a question. You covered the mechanics of it, the actual water coming out of the hydrant, the valves, and all that kind of stuff. What agency would be responsible to see that that hydrant is in fact accessible and not invisible behind vegetation?
I know exactly which one you're talking about. No, we do the weed, we have a weed whacker and we do all the within the 3-foot perimeter of the hydrant, which NFPA requires, which is part of the fire code. So we do that portion. We do the blue dots that are on the street if it happens to be paved. And that allows the engine company to see when they're driving down the road, they see the reflection, just like you do the yellow ones. And that's where they know where the hydrant is.
Okay. So if it becomes overgrown, then the district will actually, get me some pretty big shrubs.
It does,
Take more than a
but
weed whacker to take them out.
unfortunately, the way the system works, it's like the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time you're done at one end, you gotta start all over again and the same process goes on. So there are times when, the weeds look like they're not being cut. And if we have anybody that complains, the engine company will go out and do those particular hydrants, but they have a maintenance that they have to follow, so. And they do it in sections.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the finance committee? Did you have?
Well, the only comment I had 2 reports of PARs for January. Yeah, it's in January 1st, and I have one in November till for the one ending in November 2024. Yeah, so that's everyone else has 2 for
The January one is the latest. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, but I meant the number on the total on the here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. 4,030,000 is the one. Okay, thank you.
All right. Let me, if you will, I would like to, because the ALS JPA is also tied into finance, I'm gonna give you, it's kind of an update on the ALS things for, if you will. One other thing, by the way, we have received a letter from the county relative to the ERAF revenue to us, and which was a controversial item a year ago, and 18 months ago. At least for this year, it has been resolved, and we're gonna get that, find that money from the ERAF. We'll get it in 3 the pieces, but we'll get the total amount, which is, we don't have to worry about that $800,000 item that would be at stake for that. The JB has already mentioned PAS, and we're in fine shape with PAS with over $4 million. That continues to be very impressive to do that. Moving on and to a couple of items that having to do with ALS or ALS JPA, and we really haven't spent a lot of time discussing that, but let me make a couple of points I think to begin with. it's the only committee that we have that the member of this board that's on that committee can obligate this organization. At the moment, I'm on that committee, so pay attention. I certainly want to make sure that, you know, whatever I vote reflects the intent of this board, but ultimately I have to make that vote currently because I'm on that committee, which is point number one. Point number two is that Chief Wilson has just been elected to the management committee of the ALS JPA board, which is a subset of the entire board, which frankly does the work with the board. The third item from a information point of view, the ALS board meeting earlier this month set up a special committee to meet with the board of supervisors, Supervisor Mueller, and how does he pronounce his name? How's the Shepherd? Napa? Napa. They have their committee, and they're gonna meet with the ALS JPA committee to try to revolve the financing regarding the dispatch center, how that's going to happen. I don't have a date for that, but it's supposed to take place later this month. From a financial point of view, we have we received some $90,000 in revenue. If you look at the spreadsheet, through the process with the AMI and so forth that we get from it. One of the suggestions originally that's been discarded to date is that we would not get that money, and in addition to which, we would pay the county $111,000 for the dispatch center. So it would be a pretty good $200,000 hit to us to take care of it. That's what is being discussed and what has not been resolved yet. The ALS, the management of the ALS, from our point of view, has done a couple things different. They used to have a full-time executive director and a secretary, I believe it was full-time, and they've replaced those two full-time positions now. And now Chief Ron Myers has agreed to spend some of his time, 10%, I think it was stated, on the ALS JPA, and Clay Holstein, and I'm not sure which city he represents. Is he?
I used to be with Brisbane, and I think he's retired.
Anyway, he represents one of the cities. He's been very involved in it. And those two gentlemen now are going to be the co-chairs of this. So the money's a sizable amount of money, I don't recall exactly now. These two gentlemen are going to get some additional stipends to do this additional work. But in total, we, the members, will have a sizable savings in our cost on that item. The only other, I guess, just personal observation that, you know, the idea of that the county is talking about with the dispatch center, and obviously we need it, everybody needs it, and I don't think, I'm just guessing, but if they came to this board and said that they would like to have some increase annually or something like that, a reasonable thing, I suspect that would make some sense to do is something like that. But at least the idea has been floated around that there would be a major change, not just an annual, but a major change. And it's listed under the heading of cost recovery, that they want to recover all the cost of the dispatch center. I believe that is my understanding of what it is. And so the disagreement is, should there be an annual increase that represents the cost of doing business? Or does the dispatch center get all the cost received? And as they say, that has some significant financial impacts to us. So that's my ALS report and finance report. JB, you got anything else?
No.
Any questions, or it's a work in progress? That's all I would add at this time. Okay.
There's a public.
Sid's got a question.
Sid?
Oh my God, that was from before, but what does ALS stand for?
The pre-hospital advanced life support joint powers agreement.
It's the ambulance service. It's the ambulance service.
Ambulance, okay.
That stands for Advanced Life Support.
Okay, thank you. But my hand was raised before. I forgot to take it down, but you didn't call on me anyway. Can I still ask a question about a previous item?
Go ahead.
Is there something in the fire code that states how many or what the schedule is for testing fire hydrants?
Yes, it's in an FPA and it's 5 years.
Every 5 years. Okay, thank you. I'll take my hand down now. Sorry about that.
Okay, Sid, back to the one thing I neglected to do, in your packet is a couple of thick documents and finances, both of which pertain to PAS. The first one is just there are 160 members of PAS now doing what we are doing, if you will. So there's a financial statement on the whole organization, and then in the bigger packet on page 26 there's our individual items. So that's the two huge documents that you have in your packet.
So PARS is essentially in competition with PERS.
No. PERS is, as far as I know, is strictly retirement kind of things. PAS is healthcare.
And healthcare only?
As far as I know, healthcare only.
Okay.
Yeah. And our PAS is more specific, is only for the retirees. Yeah.
Previously retired.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Volunteer committee report, Director Cockrell, Director Hammond.
Yeah, I attended the meeting, we had 9 attendees, which isn't bad. There was some discussions having to do with the 501c3. So I used to report on that. I think I'm not going to talk so much because quite frankly, that's their organization. And it isn't operational part of their group. So they had, we're talking about the scheduling of a possible volunteer academy in the late summer. I guess I'd have to confirm that with Chief Cox. That the word they used was possible. And during one of our big rain events, engine 140 was staffed by volunteers. That was a good, I think, good for the district. That was essentially additional coverage without having additional expense. And then they had some requests for help at the crab feed, the IDES hall. That was it doesn't affect us directly. And then they adjourned the actual meeting, followed by EMT videos. So they had a number of EMT videos for the volunteers to watch the thing, which I thought was productive. That's the end of the volunteer report. Yes.
Your current class graduates in April, is that right?
Correct. You have the class that's already training right now.
Fantastic.
So we're starting another one in late summer, is that correct?
In the fall is the plan.
Will there be a graduation ceremony here?
There will. Chief Lord is working on that invitation.
And do we have one volunteer currently in training?
There's 6.
6, I mean, for paramedic training.
Oh, for paramedic, yes.
Yeah.
There's one currently in training.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing?
Nothing to add, we covered.
Okay.
Very good. Actually, Chief Cox, in regards to what you just mentioned about the paramedic training, anything further along the lines of, San Mateo Junior College and that is moving forward? I know it's gonna take a couple years potentially, but.
Yeah, I have not heard any update on the program there. Yeah, that was the last I heard, was they were gonna look towards that.
Okay, Land and Structures Committee, Director McKenna, Director Cheryl, I guess we've done that one. All right, Vegetation Management Committee, Director Cockrell, Director Helms.
I have no report.
Weed abatement has been discussed.
I was gonna say no report, but I think it's pertinent. We've already discussed it slightly earlier in the meeting. It's just for not just what we've witnessed in Southern California this year. And the state that we live in, which is a very high fire risk state. I think and President Burke mentioned having, a discussion about some of these areas that we don't have even any control over, and discussing it in general, and comments from the public as well from Sid. it'd be nice that we could have someone from, and I know CAL FIRE kind of is the state, but the state's a big juggernaut, so maybe there's someone that we could have, if we do something next month. On the agenda in regards to. Looking at the scope of our district and the surrounding vegetation that we have no control over directly. There's someone from the state. Whatever agency it would be, whether it is Caltrans or someone else that could. Either join a meeting or give us.
Well,
some
Patrick,
information.
I certainly, I agree with you. I think we'd like to see a bigger picture that affects the coastside and then a discussion on. What we can do, what we can't do, should we leverage our position and ask other people to do something? I think it's just a wide open subject as far as I'm concerned, and I would look to. CAL FIRE to help, and maybe we can get together and put together some kind of an agenda, and maybe it's more than one meeting, maybe it's a number of meetings, maybe it's a. If it makes sense to have a subcommittee, maybe we can do that as well.
And I'll even throw my hat, and I'm not sure, at least from my time perspective, if it required some reconnaissance from myself. And JB included, if you wish, I'm saying, to go, whether it's Sacramento or wherever, and speak with some of these individuals and have some context, I'm sure we could learn a lot by speaking to the people that do directly deal with the plots of lands that I think are probably the largest portion of vegetation when a fire, if and when a fire goes through some of the hill areas, especially between like Montera and, going east. There's a lot of fuel out there, right? So, and what we saw in Southern California was and very realistically, saying it's never gonna happen here is right, it's totally could happen in the sense that the amount of fuel is there. And what happened with them, of course, was infrastructure of water gets drained so quickly, and it's not about how much water is on the hill necessarily, but the infrastructure of water. But that would also be interesting. We were talking about hydrants today, and my first thought was, what is the amount of, what is the worst case scenario, how much water before the water dries up? And I remember when the barn on Kelly Street burned, and I was there, I remember the water in that neighborhood turned brown, and I'm not sure how much longer after that it would have turned off. And we were only flowing water for 5 or 6 hours in one structure, so. If that's, the water part's not directly related to wildland and brush and whatnot, but it's. We'd assume it's a topic all encompassing of this that the public would want to know about, and I would want to know about, what we're doing.
One thing I think CAL FIRE could help through Sacramento, not sitting the two of us like we're just. You don't have the ear of the people at the very top. But now would be an ideal time to strike, it seems to me, for all the Caltrans property up there in the Montera area. It essentially is being completely ignored, no one's doing anything. And it's just becoming a bigger and bigger fire hazard. And now we're getting past light fuels, and there's heavy fuels. And God forbid if that gets going. So maybe someone could go right to the state. And they could put the thumb on Caltrans and say, hey, you're gonna have to fix this. Otherwise, we're liable to have a major configuration.
Just thinking we need.
The land that was purchased for the bypass.
It was interesting that a number of years ago, there was a very active group of people who were working on doing something with that land in terms of the fire break. And a few meetings were held and actions were supposedly taken and then it just died. Never happened. In fact, there was a lot of, sounds crazy now, but there were actually some citizens who didn't want anything done in that area. They wanted to grow naturally. And today, I don't think that would be the intent of doing it.
There's a whole organization of citizens now that are approaching this issue. It's a lead article on the First Side News, which was the Region Review. It's gonna. We're gonna be asked about it, and it would be good to understand the background and have the facts, and to know what the right way forward is. It's the bypass. It's the road.
I just asked that, again, anticipating a subject on our next meeting, if there's input that the board wants to give or gives to the chief in terms of the agenda, or who might be appropriate to discuss it. I don't know if there's some specialties in Sacramento or someplace that may be helpful to us, but I think to take something for granted is dangerous, and that's what we're doing as a group.
Well, it seems to me Cal Fire with its access to inmate labor would be the group that it's hard to go in there and actually do the work, but that should be big enough.
Yeah, but I would hope discussion would be larger than just that one section where you're looking at coach. Yeah. And we'll try to work on that.
Okay.
There's a hand raise.
Sid?
Hello, Sid.
Okay, I was just gonna say, when we had some of the people were calling in on the Montero Water and Sanitary District January meeting, Clemens said that he's our general manager, and he said we don't have enough water to put out a big fire like they had in the Palisades, but we could put out several structure fires, but we have enough water for several hours. But he would be good to have for your meeting, maybe just for that part of the discussion. And also Montero Water Sanitary District several years ago got permission, and a board of supervisors gave them some kind of, I forget what they call it, certificate saying that they would help them take over the Caltrans right away. But then because of the LCP, they said they couldn't do it till they had a linear trail plan in place, and it got stuck in planning and nothing ever happened because Steve Monowitz never made the trail plan. So it's kind of been footballed around, but we could definitely use some help getting it, and we're willing to take it over and work on it. But you're right, some of the neighbors back there don't want a linear trail because they're worried about parking lots and drawing more people and that sort of thing. But you know, I don't think they're more worried about the fire and the trees, because Caltrans is an absentee landlord. So whatever you guys can do would be great. And I think involving the two supervisors, Jackie Spear and Ray Mueller, who are both got their, you know, ad hoc fire committee, it wouldn't hurt. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was kind of my point. Right now, the subject is hot, thanks to what happened in Southern California. And so now might be a good time to run in and jump up and down and make some noise and possibly put them on the spot where they have to do something. But as time goes on, memories will fade and the iron will cool off. That was my thought.
Exactly.
Moving on, Special Districts Association report, Director Hannah.
I do not have a current report. I know they have an event coming up soon, but I haven't looked into it directly, you know, annual event.
Okay.
No report.
Thank you. ALS report we've already had. Emergency Preparedness Liaison report, Department of Emergency Management. Is it Chief Cosgrave? Chief Cosgrave?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing is we did listening sessions with throughout the county. Several of you were at them. And one of the things that came up on it was our logo and our name. So the OES derivative that became DEM is no longer going to be there. We're going to have a new logo, and we're going to be referred to as San Mateo County Emergency Management. So the department is dropped from our logo, but it's still our official name, and we work under the executive office versus under the sheriff's office. So that's that. We are still working on the all hazard evacuation plan. Part of that is coincides with the drill that Sid referred to, the AI modeling that's going to be on March 10th. And that's going to be 2 scenarios in the county where fires break out, just general tabletop of what the fires would do. And the Ladris software is a modeling software. You can just run several scenarios, tells you how many vehicles are there. You can put roadblocks in to see what the traffic flow would be. So it's just a planning tool. That will be rolled out with the all hazard evacuation plan for all of our partners to use. Right now, only the county has access to it, and Portola Valley had bought it on their, or Woodside Portola Valley Fire, or Woodside Fire Protection District has it. But we're going to make it available to all the agencies in the county to use for planning. Our disaster preparedness day is August 2nd of this year, and the Board of Supervisors has called for a second one, which is going to be wildfire themed, which will also be at the event center, and it's going to be Saturday, April 26th. So a lot of new things going on in the county to do that. We're continuing to push the FireWise communities. We've received a lot of calls from different community members about the fire maps that have been produced, and we're referring them back to the fire agencies because it's the locals that need to take action with that. So been a lot of community interest in that, and social media is going around the fire maps, and we're referring that back to the fire agencies. And that is about it for my report.
Thank you, Dave. Questions? Thank you again, Dave. Moving on, CERT report, Director Cheryl.
So it's been busy, of course. We had a fire extinguishing class here this past Saturday with 45 people present. It was done at the request of senior co-siders who wanted all of their staff trained, as well as volunteers and people from the public. It was a very enthusiastic class. We're so grateful for this facility where they all came. They all spent an hour learning the theory of fire extinguishing, fire suppression, and utility control. And then they went out there and they put out fires. And they did a great job. So that was this past Saturday. Something that's come up since really the fires in Southern California is, of course, CERT is organized with a core group of services in 32 neighborhood safety networks. And those networks, those neighborhood groups have been asking for CERT to come, specifically David Cosgrave and whoever he brings with him, to address their concerns about their specific neighborhood. And it gets granular, but the topics are pretty much the same. It's the tsunami warning. And for each neighborhood, what was the right thing to do? It's wildfire, and that always brings up evacuation. It's earthquake, which always brings up evacuation. So it's so far, that's since January, that's been done for Kenyatta Cove, Ocean Colony, Ocean Corner, El Granada, Moon Ridge, and Senior Campus. This is what's, and the Moon Ridge one is interesting because we are doing it in Spanish. We have trained bilingual instructors who are certified, and they're going to be making that presentation in Spanish. And Chief Cosgrave has been coaching them so that the content is full from a FEMA standpoint, but relevant to Moon Ridge, to exactly what their concerns are. So this has been a real exercise in taking these events that are regional or statewide events and bringing it right down to the level of neighborhoods. And what is the role that CERT and Coastside Fire play in helping these neighborhoods be prepared and to know how to respond. So it's kind of been our new theme this year. As we remain agile and respond to current events. Then Spring CERT, Spring CERT Basic Training Academy, which we do twice a year, that currently has 50 people signed up for it. That I'm sure there'll be less when you get right down to it at the end of March, but it is going to run for 4 classes right here. It's a full-on fire station innovation, and it happens from March 19th to March 29th. 4 classes, 2 Wednesday nights, 2 Saturdays, and then we'll have new Coastside CERTs, and they are from all over the coastside. We're excited about that. End of report.
That's okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Very good. Moving on, attorney's report.
Nothing, thank you.
Anything? Fire marshal's report.
What we have is in Chief Cox's report. Only outstanding thing we have.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
I assume, John, you were referring to the building permit for Carlos Street, the multifamily
Yeah, if they had any
construction.
questions there.
Cypress Point, yeah, just the fire marshal's office sent their comments back for the building plans for the Cypress Point development on February 20th of 2025. There's a number of items that are found to be incomplete at the moment. that require addressing before the fire code can be completely compliant on that. I know there's a question about where it stood within the district. Just recognize the district's authority over projects like that is enforcement of the fire code and ensuring that any building permit is issued with proper fire code involved. So there are comments that have been sent back on that building permit related specifically to the fire code and the issues that need to be addressed. Anything to add there, John?
No, it's just, the one other thing that we did, if you see the first paragraph, was in order to get them to move forward on the access issues that we have with that project. We won't be doing any plan reviews for the 17 permitted buildings that are gonna be on that facility. So until we get compliance, and this is to the fire marshal, these items that are in red have to be addressed before the fire department will move forward on any of the plan reviews for building.
So this may understand, because I'm not sure the process, but neither the site plan or the building plan has been approved.
Neither. So we have 18 permits.
Yeah.
17 buildings. We have a site plan and 17 buildings.
So our
17 permits or permit application?
17 permit applications.
Okay, thank you.
and Chief Cox, to your point, even though we can't dictate, we have to make sure that they're in compliance with all the typical codes, right?
Right.
But if they're not in compliance with it, they cannot go forward.
Yeah, the fire has to sign off on the building permit
Okay.
before it can get issued to ensure that the
Right.
fire code is compliant.
Exactly. And we have access issues that normally, even a single family dwelling may comply with, but we're having difficulty with this facility, them complying with the access, ingress and egress for fire engines.
Just again, my very small amount of knowledge, we have, through the fire marshal's office, have notified the owner and developer that the necessity to meet the fire code, so you can't go forward. In fact, I was looking at a letter that goes back to 2022 that we
Right,
expressed.
those are the original requests.
Yeah.
during
And
the planning
and
stage.
here we are 3 years later, and they have not apparently responded or done what's necessary. to
Right,
move forward.
we're already out of planning and we're in building now and they still haven't addressed
Okay,
our needs yet, so. And I believe you sent it, but you sent all this out, and so it goes into the county computer
yeah,
and it's distributed amongst the developers, planning, building, Steve Monowitz.
okay.
So my concern is, they wanna do it, will accomplish all these goals by occupation, is what I understand. But you know how things go with the county and everybody else, we'll get to it when we get to it, so I wanna make sure all this is done before.
Okay, so there's three sections that we have in the fire code that they have to comply with access to that facility. And in their co-site ordinance, they're not allowed to put any combustibles on that site until all the utilities are, that means the roads, the water. So we haven't even gotten that far yet.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Thank you, Chip, for addressing that.
Thank you.
There's a hand raised.
Sid,
On the plan for Mid-10 Cypress Point, is the access because of the gate at Lincoln Street and the only other gates down by Carlos, or is there something else that you guys, you wanted them to have another access gate or something?
So for fires, we have a 3-engine response. So we have one that comes from El Granada, one that comes from obviously Moss Beach, and then the other one's from Pacifica. Their only access to that facility is Carlos Street, which is very substandard now. We went in there and measured every portion of that street, and it averaged about around, I don't know, 14, 15 feet in width. And the minimum requirement is 20 with no parking. And they're using it right now and there's parking everywhere. So it wouldn't, it's not effective for us to be able to access that property in a reasonable amount of time, the 6:59, to any portion of our district. So that's one of the issues we have.
Well, I know Ray Mueller is very upset because there's supposed to be a Caltrans modification of Highway 1 corridor, but it's not going to be completed till 2030. And there's a turn lane that goes, you know, directly to Carlos Street off of Highway 1 or to the Montero Water and Sanitary District and the Lighthouse. And it's a shared turn lane. There's already been fatalities there when, you know, cars are coming in each direction. They both want to turn the other way. So I always thought maybe that might have been part of the problem. But anyway, oh well. I'm not really in favor of that project. So the longer they delay, the better for me. Thank you.
If anybody has certainly comments or questions, they certainly should contact the fire marshal's office and make sure that they're being considered, okay? Anything else? Okay, moving on, fire chief's report.
All right, just a few things. As Chief Cosgrave said, the LRA local responsibility area, very high fire hazard severity zone maps, which are just referred to as fire hazard severity zone maps now, were released on Monday. The public can view them online, and it is for local jurisdictional areas such as the city of Half Moon Bay, unincorporated San Mateo County that is not in the SRA or the state responsibility areas. A large portion of Half Moon Bay and El Granada and Montero are now in the very high and moderate categories. There's been a big increase on the coast. Next steps for those is the local jurisdiction has 30 days to review, take comments, and then adopt by ordinance for the zones themselves. The only agreements we signed this month were an agreement with PG&E for the new temporary station 44 to get the work started on getting utilities to that location. As we said, the volunteer academy is going well. Graduation is planned for April. Several public outreach events, including a school visit in El Granada, and several significant incidents, an ocean rescue with 2 critical patients, small vegetation fire near the encampment behind the fish market, Highway 1 and 92, as well as storm coverage for the higher call volume during the storms. As far as facilities go, we did have to replace both furnaces here at Station 40 during those storms. We were without heat on one side, and then once that got repaired, the heat went on this side, so those have been replaced. The Type 3 engine, the Wildland 4-wheel drive engine, is still in progress. The new Pierce Quantum has been delivered to Sacramento. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Can you assure us that visiting fire engines from other areas who came to California to fight the fires down in Southern California were not required to pass a smog check first?
That is confirmed. That was not required.
Of course, that's
Safety
Yes.
only.
yes.
That was the funniest thing ever.
Chief Wilson, did you have comments or?
Just to build on what Chief Fox was talking about with the fire hazard severity zone maps being released, that is a high profile right now. So if you do receive comments and have questions, if you could make sure to forward them to.
Where can we access that map?
It's on the Office of State Fire Marshal, local responsibility area. And when you click on that tab, you can go down and look specifically at the interactive map, or you can look at it for a static PDF for the county.
The city of Half Moon Bay is very interested in these maps. They've been waiting. So now they're.
Yes, we're in communication, and we have Brian Olson from the Land Use Planning and Office of State Fire Marshal coming next Wednesday to talk to the fire chiefs. So that all the fire chiefs in San Mateo were getting the same message, we can relay that to the cities or agency having jurisdiction to adopt the ordinance. So we're working hopefully together. It's just when you see very high heightens awareness, so we'll be working to make sure that we're relaying that appropriately. That's all I have to do.
Thank you very much, Chief. I'd just like to, I believe, Chief, somebody's gonna be checking on, if the board members want to go to the farm day.
Yeah, I believe Megan sent that email.
Okay. It's coming up in March sometime, maybe. Yeah, that's as long as we're checking it. The only other thing I'd add is that I think each one of the board members were provided with a draft copy of the municipal service review of the Coastside Fire Protection District, a 48 page document. And I'm sure you'd like to discuss it.
Get a lot.
It's not. This was the LAFCO gentleman who was here at a meeting some months ago and prefaced this, and it was interesting. This is being done apparently to all cities and special districts throughout California by the LAFCOs and the various counties. And this is the first time that this review has been done on the Coastside Fire Protection District. And if you read through it, first of all, it's at least my impression is a very positive review of the Coastside Fire Protection District. Everything in it, there was not a negative point at all, and it's a public document that will be finalized at some point in time. So, and I realize it has to be done as state law, or it's, there's a law that says you do it, and God bless them who put this thing all together. But I look at the thing and I think, what good is this thing? I mean, and this is being done throughout California. I mean, they must have chopped down, a dozen redwoods to get the paper for this thing, to get it go through. Nobody signs it. There isn't any action plans on the damn thing. And, you look for the last page, what's the action items? There isn't any. Yeah, it just seems, this is philosophical. I stop my rant and get off the thing. But anyway, we do have it. And it is very positive relative to the Coastside Fire Protection District. And I don't have any changes or comments on it at all. This is the draft when we go back. If anybody has any comments, please give them to Chief Cox and we'll include this in our final approval. Okay. Anything else? Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.
So